Hey everybody, welcome to BrickVault. Today in front of us are 5 different 2019 Hidden Side sets sent to us from LEGO. So thanks a lot LEGO for sending these sets over to us. I'm going to be doing a full review talking about each set individually, the figs that come out in the sets, how much they sell for, and what I think about them. They of course integrate with the Hidden Side app, which is the augmented reality app. And yeah, you guys will hopefully get a pretty good idea of how these sets compare to each other and how this theme generally is in terms of looks and feel. From what I can tell, especially when I talk to younger builders, this theme is pretty popular with the younger kids. It's kind of a high school, haunted high school themed theme. Well, this is the haunted high school set, for example. But anyways, yeah, I'm going to be jumping into all of these different sets. And by the way, I might as well actually start with the biggest one of the wave, which is the Newbury Haunted High School. Set number 70423, we have the Newbury High School, or sorry, the Newbury Haunted High School, I should say. And there's a lot of things about this set that I think are very much worth pointing out. First off, I like that it's just one building. This is a very large set. It's the largest of the wave. It's kind of the flagship of the whole theme, really, because it's the first big set from the first wave of this line. And it's good that it's just one building. They didn't kind of skimp out on the details of the main building set here and add like a smaller side build that doesn't look very good, or add a small vehicle that doesn't look very good. Instead, they just put all the details into one thing, and I think it worked out well for them. The dark red is a good color because they managed to add, I mean, it's a lot of sticker detailing, but they managed to add a lot of little semi-decrepit or at least aged details into this larger building, which gives you a pretty good impression of sort of a haunted feeling, especially when all of the haunted pieces of this set start to reveal themselves. So I'll get more into the cool functions of the building, but first let's check out the minifigs because we actually got some pretty darn good detailing. This here is Paula. She's got a wonderful set of colors for the varsity jacket. The squids is a great logo. She's got a couple of expressions. The braces smile and the braces scared face look pretty darn good. Great hairpiece though, pretty solid looking fig all around. Then we get a ton of different Jack figs. He's one of the main characters from the theme. He's not unique or exclusive, just pretty decent prints all the way around. Solid little mold for the hood, and we are moving on. Mr. Elton is definitely a strange one. Loving the hairpiece. Very interesting and specific kind of expressions that he gets. He's got that little band-aid on his cheek, which is a pretty signature little thing that defines his character in very interesting colors that make up his chest. Parker, another main character, is in this set. Also not exclusive. I think there's a version of her that has the black shirt with the pink kind of whatever that is. It's a fanny pack, but it's around the shoulder. There's her phone. It's upside down. It's a gloomy little ghost. She's got an alternate expression here. Great mold for the hair. And Spencer, the most common of any of the figs, if you can call him a fig. Great mold. And now we've got Rose Davids. This is, I think, Jack's mom, if I'm not mistaken. Awesome hairpiece. We've seen this before. It's not very common though. Really, really, really cool hairpiece. And the business suit also looks pretty snazzy. This is her alternate expression. Pretty solid. And she's got one of the gloomy faces. Pretty standard haunted / infested ghost face here. Like the little split there in the back. There's even some printing on the back of the head, which is kind of nice. And there you go. That is Rose Davids. Probably the most unique figure from this set for sure. Look at those light eyes. You can hardly see them through the glasses. Mr. Clark has a wonderful detail for this sort of suit that kind of comes around the front. He's got a nice little bow tie, and his alternate expression is great. I just like that use of the light eyes. It looks a little bit funny from afar, but it's just a little bit more of a unique take. And here he is with this extra fun wing mold. It's come out in a couple of sets. I think maybe just a couple from this first wave, but very interesting. It's a little bit more of a matted look compared to the shiny minifigure head, and the color is slightly different. So everything's just a slightly different sort of neon green. Great looking fig though. And Wade is the last guy. He's wearing a Squids jersey and a gray shirt underneath that. He's number 22. Short legs, pretty standard. And here he is with the Kai hairpiece that's been molded in that really, really bright green. You can also give him wings. There's 2 pairs of wings. He's supposed to have wings. I just put his head on just so you could see what that looks like. And this is the standard back, sort of flamey, kind of gooey print that goes onto the back of these different gloomy heads. And all right, here's the front of the house. Wonderful exterior, like I said earlier, and this is the back with a relatively open area. I like that they don't have any closed off walls that come in on the side. Instead, it's just kind of a rounded edge corner. It just kind of makes this whole thing feel a little bit more open, but I think it's worth getting into. Oops, you already saw it before, but let's get into some of the play features here. So we have this. This is the area. You push that little step in the back and it opens up the mouths in the front. This is all sticker detailing. Looks pretty great. And then you can also lift this up and lift this up. You've got some, those pieces fall out. That's part of some of the play functions. But this is kind of some trans green smoke. And really though, I think the coolest part are these 2 little triggers or actuators. You can see that when you push them in, they have a little bit of looseness to them. And that's because you can push them in and you've got a couple of, reaching across, there we go, spring-loaded claws. Looking pretty good. Honestly, not bad, because the outside of this house is high school, I keep saying house. The outside of it is still relatively well hidden in terms of its play features. And then there's one more thing to kind of top the whole thing off. There we go. We've got some eyes. There's a little bit of sticker here, but the rest is brick built. And yeah, this thing actually really does. I'm not going to say it looks like a creature necessarily, but there is definitely a certain amount of lifelike realism to just such a silly and interesting creation. This does remind me of that weird culty Japanese horror movie called House. All you need to do is watch the commercial for that, or the trailer, and you'll know what I'm talking about. There's a couple other little things here. This is actually already revealed. Technically, you have to attach this little bell piece, and this is sort of the original part of the house. It's got, high school. Man, I keep saying that. There's what looks like a classroom and a normal chalkboard. You can see some other great details. Honestly, really wonderful details through and through. But when you detach this bell, the bell drops, kind of breaks away from the top of the tower. Then it allows you, not attached. It allows you to move it around here like this, and it reveals a haunted teddy bear and a clue. It's not a minifigure necessarily, but it is a haunted teddy bear. Not a new mold, and there's only printing here. Really kind of creepy and weird. It's not the same thing as a creepy doll. Maybe that would have been too much. A bright green or spring green teddy bear is perhaps not quite as creepy as something like an Annabelle doll or something like that. And then you've got some awesome details. Look, the food is great. You've even got like food on the inside of these ice trays, which is awesome. There's a lab here, a bathroom here. It's really good. There's so many fun interior pieces. The library build is fine. The clock build is pretty good. It's all sticker detailing for the most part, but we have some nice bits of decrepit walkway detailing. And I will say that yes, successfully, this is something that, there we go. It works pretty darn well when it comes to an actual play set. I don't play the game as much, but because this is the biggest set when you do play it in-app, there are just a few more things that you can kind of discover when moving through the different play settings or game settings. Now, I did forget one thing here. That is actually, let me just fold these claws back up. There's one other morphing function that I totally forgot was a thing. All you got to do is bend this back and you've got a little bench, but it only really looks cool when you look nice up close. And there it is. It's got these eyes that stick out. Kind of reminds me of a monster you might see from a Sam Raimi movie or something like that. Really fun little detail though. And yeah, I gotta say that this, you know, being the flagship, you can actually pull these out. There's a little bit of rubber band spring-loadedness to them. This is kind of the flagship of the theme almost, and I can understand fully the concept of Hidden Side a lot more now that I've got the Haunted High School in front of me, because they really managed to hide the lifelike features very, very well in this kind of build, which looks awesome, because honestly this looks better than most Lego schools, and this is something that doesn't feel too out of place. And yeah, this is just something that I think works well. Like, it could easily be put into a city type diorama, no problem. It doesn't feel super haunted. It just kind of looks a little bit old and run down, but that adds a little bit more character, especially considering most of the builds that come from the city and creator lines are often a bit more bright and vibrant. This feels just a little bit more realistic. So yeah, that's my basic breakdown of the biggest set. And now we've got the Ghost Train Express set number 70424. 698 parts, sells for $80. It's got a bunch of minifigs, and I think this is the electric diesel, maybe an early electric diesel train, and a small build for either the front of a train station or maybe just a small train stop. It does say Newbury train station, but it's maybe just the suggestion of a larger structure here. And we've got a pretty fun and interesting build all around. I like the minifigs, but I'll get into them actually after the features of the transformation functions, because those are really my favorite parts, I think, of the Hidden Side sets, is the fact that these seemingly innocuous structures can actually turn into monstrous things. And it really only comes down to the engine and the station for this particular set, but the engine's got two very good functions that I think work pretty well for it. So this is the first function. Just a couple of very, very bright spring green wings. So who knows, perhaps this is sort of like a flying train, similar to how that one train was in Back to the Future. And then there's the second function. I really like how this one works because it's so well hidden. And not only does it come down and up, or sorry, you can, when you pull it, it actually pushes the mouth forward a little bit and then comes up. It's a really fun and smooth little function, and I think it looks great. So that is it. There's a little bit less personality, but I kind of like it because the windows sort of give you a natural indication of perhaps eyes, and this doesn't have to feel too anamorphic necessarily. It's just a couple of creepy, weird wings. So there's the transformation function for the first half of the set. There aren't any more on these cars in the back. And then this is the second one. The station can actually come alive, and it's so simple, but I think it actually works pretty darn well. So the way that works is you twist the clock comes back, one creepy hand comes around, there's some sticker indications showing some creepy scratches there, the light turns, and then boom, that's it. So simple, right? Nothing to it, really. But it works. It's just some weird, evil shadow creature demon that is creeping over the top of the rooftop here at the station, and it works really, really well. So I think that's just a fun couple of transformation functions there. But let's get back to the train as a build in general, because it's kind of a nice little build. We've got the wings and then the mouth. You can actually just push it back on your own if you like. And what's nice about this is you can actually clip it using these sort of mixel type joints. You can clip it to the stopper here in the front if you want it totally stuck on to the tracks. I do think there should be more tracks, but this isn't really supposed to be a train set. This isn't really built to be modified easily as an actual train. So there's that. Or at least, sorry, it shouldn't be easily modified for electric running train motor functions on its own, but the engine build is nice. The colors are kind of dark, they're a little bit less exuberant and maybe slightly more realistic, or looks a little bit older, I would say. So that's nice. These two second cars are great. You've got these, these gizmos and gadgets that are built to fight off the gloom. Oh, this was actually kind of coming out a little bit, but let's see if I can, there we go. This is modified. This is sort of a de-gloomer kind of chamber. You put somebody who's been possessed by you know, a ghost, or I don't think they deal with demons necessarily, but it's almost like an exorcism machine. And these are some little screens where you can have an operator sit or stand there. And yeah, but this is something that can be taken off easily. You can add your own kind of train car if that's what you wanted, or you can switch the order, of course. This doesn't really look like a caboose. It's red and it's in the back, but it's really just kind of shaped like a normal train car. You've got a little bit of sticker detailing here and some nice little graffiti sticker at the top. It can open in the back, but there isn't really much of anything on the inside. It's just got stuff on the back, which is okay. And the door actually looks all right. You've got a pretty decent build for a cannon. I actually modified this slightly because I wanted to use the inverted 1x3 plate. So sorry, I actually parted one very nice little piece down for a build earlier this week. So that's just how these things go. Yeah, so there's the train, and then getting a little bit more detailed with this, we've got this guy. It's such an easy transformation function. There we go. It's totally fine. The Newbury station is totally fine. We have a recycling thing here. This is a really interesting and fun little way to get steps to work. I, of course, broke it off, but you can clip them on one by one, and then they naturally fall and rest on each other to create a steep little incline, which is fun. There's a spot for one minifig to sit there in the front, and we've got a ticket booth and not much else in the back. This isn't too easily seen. This stuff doesn't look great, but it doesn't look terrible necessarily. Like, it doesn't really distract, and there's just a little bit of play area in the back. Okay, now let's get into the figs. Here is Jack, one of the main characters. He's in most of the sets for sure. Really nice details all around. He's got a little bit of almost a retro look. These are his two expressions. They change a little bit from each set here and there. There usually switches between one of two faces or one of two outfits. Then this is Paul. He is exclusive to this set. The detailing isn't bad. I do like the little banana t-shirt. The jacket-ish area feels a little bit flat on this guy, but this is one of my more preferred facial expressions. I like the glasses. I like the sort of quirky little smile. Good-looking guy all around. And then JB is perhaps the most intricate or interesting character. I love the dual-molded hairpiece. This is her alternate expression. She's got the funny little Frankenstein pink t-shirt. Also, great alternate expression. She's probably one of the most interesting looking characters from the wave, and she's in a lot of sets as well. This is Parker. She basically has two looks. This is one of them in her sort of denim, the denim jean jacket outfit, I should say. And then this is her one expression. Her other expression, I think she's got another set of facial expressions that's a little bit more animated. You can also see that a lot of them have their cell phones with certain demon-like indicators on them. And then these are a couple of figs that are exclusive to this set. We've got Miss Santos here, and then this is Chuck. She's essentially perhaps working at the ticket counter. This is maybe the guy that checks the tickets in the actual train. And great detailing for them all around. Pretty rock solid, in fact. Sorry, my auto settings were making that a bit dark for you guys. Here they are, though. Let me change out their possessed faces. Now, her holding on to the gloomy lantern makes a little bit more sense when she's got the awesome hairpiece and the new face. He managed to magically grow a beard, so good on ya. That's quite a skill, I would say. Not a new hairpiece, just a new color mold. But very, very cool. I feel like this will be fun to make some interesting micro details. Maybe, I don't know exactly what, but it's just a nice looking piece here. So those are all the figs. I already talked about the set. Let's move on to the next one. Now we are at the Shrimp Shack set number 70422, 579 parts, originally sold for around $50 or €50, and is still listed at that price. It comes with 5 figs, and I think, yeah, this time let's get into the figs first. First up is Spencer. He's super common, comes in just about all of the sets. Great little mold. Then here is Jack. He's in a white hoodie with a little bit of a red detailing. This is his expression here. This is his other expression. He just comes with two different combinations of expressions and hoodies like that. You can see the little detail on his phone. Another little ghost, and Parker. Parker is here. Parker has got this expression. We've seen so many of these guys before. Okay, let's get into some new figs. Now, here we go. Ronnie is his name. He's just a guy, I guess, that works or was probably at the Shrimp Shack. He's eating a hot dog. He's got a pizza, in little emblem there, little logo symbol. I like the mouthful expression. This, I think, was the puking expression when it was on the roller coaster set, but now this expression equals a mouthful of food, I'm going to guess. And then here are the two workers, and these are the two people that will be getting possessed. Sally is the server with awesome aqua blue detailing, or at least molding for her. And this is Chef Enzo with a big old machete instead of a butcher's knife. Really nice detailing though, all around for both of them. And then this is what happens when you don't tip your server. Great looking detail here. I love the dual molded hairpiece. We've already seen this several times before on other figs. And then Chef Enzo actually has, what is that? The Garmadon piece. You can see that this mold has definitely been put on the most recent Garmadon fig, except they turned it back around. Personally, I don't know, it doesn't look that great. It's kind of got a little bit of a rigid, weird disconnection, but I get what they're going for, and it is certainly a more unique way to have a figure done in general. You know, they could have just done another head and another hairpiece, but he's a little bit special this way, so that's kind of nice. And yeah, the fact that they made the printing sand blue here makes it the green, the spring green, not juxtaposed too differently. So all in all, pretty successful. Now here is the Crab Shack. It also can fit, I think, really well into a city or creator mindset for a larger town diorama. And it's just a bit darker, a little bit grungier, a little bit more run down than your average city stuff. So I just like that these sets can be integrated at least decently well within something that would go into a larger city setting. And it looks like this Shrimp Shack would go right next to the water, the sea, the ocean. There's a life preserver there. And let's get into the transformation functions. It's pretty straightforward. This is a great printed piece. Kind of a shame you only get one of them because it's a cool eye, and I broke that little piece off. It's normally just a little ratcheted bit, and it can come out, I think, that far, and it just kind of increases the creepiness. It's sort of a messed up shrimp, and it's got another weird little eye and some nasty little teeth. This is a silly one. You have to zoom in for this, but if you turn the crab, and then if I zoom in, you can see it revealed a little eyeball. There we go. You see that little eye right by the crab's butt? That technically is one of the little transformation functions for this, but clearly not the greatest one. There's this one that's a bit better. That one's actually pretty nice. It's got some teeth here. Maybe I'll lift it up and show you guys. And tongue or weird oozy goopy nastiness. That's fun. I like that one quite a bit. And then I don't think we've actually got any other transformation bits. So there's not too much in this one. There's just a nice bit of building that makes up the interior and exterior. Personally, I think the interior is better. Actually, let me pop up the windows. I think that would be a little nicer. Oh yeah, and this is part of the play function as well for the game. There you can see some of the serving stations from the inside, and then this is the interior. Awesome details that make up the functions for the stovetop. This little bit can open up. There's a little bit of storage space. These little drawers can open up. It's actually quite well made. We've got ketchup and mustard, a little drink stand. I don't know if that's supposed to be coffee or maybe chocolate milkshake or something like that. And some ingredients for the Shrimp Shack: egg, fish, chicken bone or something. And then this is actually one of my favorite little vehicles that has come out in quite a long time. I don't know what this body piece is that makes up the two seats, but it looks so good, and it's nice and rounded over. We've got this weird retro little gun thing. I like the wheel on the side. That's great. This is obviously something that has been made for fighting against, fighting against the gloom and the ghosts. And it's just a fun little rounded over vehicle. Super, super strong. Probably one of the strongest little things, because the only thing really clipped on here in a weak way would be the little gun in the front. And when it comes to this game in app, I have to say I'm not the greatest reviewer for this. What I basically do is play through the level once or twice, and ultimately I find a lot of the same play functions are there. In general, I think they did a good job with the backgrounds for the augmented reality bit of the app, where you can see the set inside the universe of the hidden side stuff, but this is very much a relatively easy and somewhat grindy little game that personally I don't get a huge amount of enjoyment from. But honestly, it doesn't bother me that much, because when we get fun little sets with interesting vehicles, characters, and builds that can be easily integrated with very much an odd and strange overall theme and style, the game actually doesn't really affect my mood too much about how I feel about these sets in general. Now we've got El Fuego's Stunt truck, 428 parts, sells for $40, comes with all of these figs, and I might as well check out the truck first. It's kind of a basic build that, because it is a stunt truck, pretty much fits within standard city sizes. We've got El Fuego here, but the stunt truck is what? Is that 8 studs wide? The cab is something like 6 studs wide, and that makes sense for something that should, in fact, be an oversized build. It's pretty simple, not too flashy. It feels a little bit, I don't know, it almost feels a little bit too simple for me in a certain way. Obviously, you've got all this extra stuff on the top that is meant for fighting off the gloom, fighting off of the ghosts here. And you'd think there'd be some suspension, but it doesn't look like there is. In fact, actually no, there is some suspension. You pull away on this little tab and it releases the back. It's kind of interesting. I don't know what the idea behind having the unique suspension system like this was. It's, now it's got this more aggressive canted forward look. From the side, it looks a little bit silly just because, I don't know, it just doesn't feel quite right. I think there are certain suspension systems in real life that kind of look like this, but normally it just doesn't actually feel, it just feels a little bit funny. They've done more interesting and more fun suspension systems with trucks, Lego trucks in the past at this size that I think were a little bit more effective than that. And also when you look in the back, there's this lime green, which perhaps can integrate with the game, though when I was playing it on the app, I didn't see anything for it, so who knows? Maybe it does integrate at some point with some other functions. On the top, you can see the other color functions for integrating with the different play modes, and this is one of their much larger, much more bulky cannons meant for fighting off the gloom. The interior isn't too bad. Let's see if I can get the light. There we go. You've got some sticker detailing and just a little gauge and a steering wheel with space for 2 minifigures, which makes sense. That's how much you should be able to fit into this set. All in all, I'm not super impressed. Stunt trucks in general, or big monster trucks in general, aren't like my biggest favorite thing. Lego's been doing a lot of them recently, and that one isn't particularly special. This is a trike, a chopper trike, it looks like. Very simple sticker details. Nothing too flashy or interesting also that pops out with this build. You can fit a couple of figs. It's got this kind of canted, mean look, but at the end of the day, it is still very simple. In terms of builds for this set, I am probably the least impressed. Here is El Fuego. You might recognize this character. I really do enjoy the print there for the top of his helmet. These are his expressions, nice little expressions, and then the back of him is that. So pretty basic guy. They didn't do a whole lot of extra printing except for the helmet that we got, and then this is Jack. There he is. He's got a selfie camera this time, and this is his expression, his other expression. pretty straightforward looking fig. I'm going kind of fast because we've seen a lot of these guys before. There's Spencer, and then these are the other two unique figs for the set. I'm saving a little bit of time by showing Dwayne with his normal face in his hand, and then this is the possessed face with the same kind of withered and crazy wily beard. Pretty interesting guy. I like how the guys just magically grow beards. That's like just part of the possession process. And then this is Joey here. Personally, I think her detailing for the top is really, really good. They both have the same pants piece, which I think works pretty well for them. And she's got wings in the back with the claws like we saw before. Slightly squishy, but not really, relatively firm. And check out this possessed pistol. Pretty interesting. You don't usually get pistol pieces like that in different colors other than, I think it's just always in dark gray or dark bluish gray depending on what year it was released, but now we get it in spring green, which is a pretty random color to get an old school pistol piece. But yeah, those are the figs. And here now is the final, final build of the review. We've got the Wrecked Shrimp Boat, set number 70419, 310 parts, sells for $30 or 30 euros, still out there, still doing its thing. I really like the build for the shrimp boat. This land piece is kind of whatever. We've got some really wonderful shrimp fishermen and a very interesting tan little croc. Let's get into the figs. Here is Spencer, then Jack. Jack's got the white hoodie. These are his expressions right there and there. And then we've got Parker here, who's got a couple of different expressions. I'm just going real quick. So here she is. These are her faces. Those are the versions of the main characters. Now let's get into the cool guys because I really love both of the shrimp fisherman characters. We've got Captain Jonas and Jonas Jr. So this is a wonderful detailing there with the one strap kind of coming down on the front and back, and Captain Jonas has got the full raincoat with this great little mold for the hat at the top. Let me turn his head around so you can see what his head actually looks like when he's not possessed. Sorry, I actually have the back of this thing in the opposite direction. And Jonas can't actually get possessed, or he doesn't come with the gloomy possession pieces necessarily. Of course, you could just possess him instead of his dad, but his dad has got some octopus-looking tentacles or squid tentacles or something coming out the back. Only 4 of them, just because I don't think 8 would have been as easy to mold or something. It would have been kind of cool to get 8, but those are the figs, and let's check out, well, actually, before we check out the set, this doesn't count as a fig, but it is an awesome crocodile alligator type piece. They molded it in total tan with red eyes. He could be a possessed croc. I've no doubt about it, but it could also just be sort of an albino crocodile. I know there was one in the zoo close to where I was growing up as a kid. Had blue eyes though, not red ones. So this is something that could just exist somewhere in nature, and it's very, very creepy. Nice little mold. I think it's a bit different from some of the sort of classic alligator crocodile molds from the past. But now let's jump into the set. Like I said in the beginning, this is something that could easily just integrate so well within a city or boat or any type of normal diorama on the ocean. This little build has actually got a lot of really nice, very subtle little techniques. I like these little bits here that stick out the side. Even this play function, when you don't have it on some of the more interesting colors, the more vibrant colors here, when you have it on the dark blue, it just kind of looks like it fits with the rest of the build regardless. So yeah, very little to almost no modification would be necessary in order to have this thing just perfectly fit within a normal setting, which I like. I like that not all the vehicles in this theme had been retrofitted with really big light blue laser cannons and stuff. There's some shrimp, there's some fish on the inside. Yeah, there's a few stickers here and there. There's a little shrimp at the top, and there's a little bit of weathered detailing on top of the engine. But for the most part, there's some stickers and stuff on the side and the front. But for the most part, it's a pretty vacant and subtly detailed, I would say, build. When it comes to the land or the shoreline or the swamp, it's almost like swampy, but really it's maybe just like a swampy shoreline. There's not much to it. This is funny. This is more goofy than it is scary, for sure. There were some ones that legit looked creepy. This one just is a bit over the top, but it's also just this, it's just a rock. You know, it could just be a rock. You could never open it up if you didn't like it, but kind of funny. Just a little bit of a goofy thing. And then also, as part of the play function, what you can do is you can split this open and you can actually fit this thing somewhere. I know you can. I know you can. Oh yeah, you can fit it in there, and then you can also fit the back. I'm going to assume in there. Yeah, you can switch it around however you like. Now you've got an actual wrecked shrimp boat. Obviously, there's no wreckage details, let's say, on the inside of either of the boats. It's just Technic that keeps it together. But this is the wrecked part of the shrimp boat. This set is called the Wrecked Shrimp Boat, and there's no wreckage until now. This is a little banana. No, it's a yellow kayak, which is nice. And in terms of app play, once again, this whole thing is pretty basic. I think you only need to scan the ship, and then everything else in the augmented reality is not actually part of the Lego builds. And I guess that makes sense because there's sort of a lot of equi-sized or similar sized pieces, and it might be just easier for the reader to just scan one thing and not worry about the rest. So that's that for this set, and let's check out all 5 together. Alrighty, and here it is. These are the 5 sets all together. Once again, they haven't changed any places from the intro shot. But anyways, I do have my basic recap of my favorite to least favorite sets. Stunt Truck, being El Fuego Stunt Truck, is my least favorite. The main build is the truck. It didn't really do a whole lot for me. The trike really didn't do a whole lot for me, and the figs are just okay. I do like the little glowing green pistol piece, and that is almost it. Also, El Fuego's a pretty decent fig, but that's just about it. And then in second place, sort of in the middle tier, I would say both of the shrimp sets. There's a lot of things to like about the shrimp sets. The figs, for example, look amazing. These 3 figs in particular are very, very nice. The actual build for the shrimp here looks good. In general, this is a wonderful little set that can be integrated well within a city. And this buggy is awesome. Definitely one of my favorite smaller builds of the entire theme for sure. I really need to know what that body piece is that makes up the center. When it comes to the wrecked shrimp boat, the boat itself, really easy to integrate with another larger diorama. It's a wonderful little sort of tugboat build, or I guess it's a shrimping boat. Great that we get a tan alligator. That's cool, not very common. This land build behind it, not the greatest bit of building back there, but I do like the little pop-up face, and the fisherman minifigs are probably some of the best from the entire wave. So I put them at about the middle tier. And then the top tier for me, the 2 favorite sets are actually the 2 biggest ones, which isn't very common for me. I usually like smaller ones, but I think they realized their vision with the theme much, much better when it came to the larger builds. Like even the simplified face build just kind of pops well against the black roof. And the train is actually really good on its own. These gizmos and gadgets meant to fight off the gloom integrate well with the different cars, and we get some excellent figs along the way. The morph function for the mouth here is top notch. It really opens quite fluidly, which I love a lot. And when everything is kind of morphed into its gloomy, haunted form, it works quite well. But this is definitely the best form of a haunted, gloomy anything. The eyes popping out, the hands and claws coming out, really just a wonderful thing. I know I said it when I was talking about it before, but it does remind me of that weird culty Japanese horror movie called House, and I keep on calling it the Haunted House, even though I know it's the Haunted High School. Figs are great, prints are great, just across the board. I really like the lighter eye color for the glasses. Yes, really solid builds. And then across the board for the theme here, the pricing is nice. There's nothing that sticks out as overpriced for any of these sets, and that's because at the end of the day, this is an original IP, so you're not paying extra out to Disney and or Marvel or DC or whoever Lego happens to be making sets for at that time. So this is original, and I think they've managed to bring the price down just a hair, not like by any drastic means, but they certainly are above average in price. Now, when it comes to the actual game, the app, the Hidden Side game, I gotta say, I played most of it, or I played most of the levels through, but at the end of the day, there's just a kind of a lot of repetition to the game itself. This isn't like Minecraft where people liked the sets because the game is really cool. Lego kind of tried to make a good game and good sets at the same time. What I think ended up happening is they made a okay-ish game for the app, and they had pretty decent sets. So the game isn't something that I've really been focusing on at all for these reviews because it's just not something that draws me in. But I have to say, talking with younger builders, that is a huge plus to them. They actually kind of like the way that the progression system works within the game itself, even though me personally, that's not something that draws me in overall when I look at the Hidden Side theme. But anyways, that is going to be it for my thoughts on these 5 sets. Thank you so much for watching. We're going to have a collection video coming down the line pretty darn soon, and we'll see you next time at BrickVault.